Uh-oh.
Okay, we'll start with this. I'm sure that most of you heard late yesterday, WBC President Mauricio Suleiman issued a public statement that reads, "I'm exercising my authority. As president of the WBC, I am hereby expelling Ryan Garcia from any activity with our organization. We reject any form of discrimination. I fear for Ryan's well-being as he has declined multiple attempts for our help with mental health and substance abuse."
Why do you guys keep deferring to mental health as an explanation?
As a result of Ryan Garcia's bigoted rant yesterday, the WBC has so chosen to stand apart from him.
Boxing is a business.
And it's no different for the WBC, thus any discriminatory and prejudicial comments on the premise of race or religion are bad for business.
That's what the WBC is all about.
They're about their business and what is good for it. Though when the WBC says that they're expelling Ryan Garcia from anything in association with their organization, what does that actually mean when Ryan Garcia was not a WBC champion and he wasn't trying to be?
Doesn't have some kind of a status with them that they can strip him of.
That to Ryan, the WBC disassociating themselves with him may seem inconsequential. When you think about it, this is of little to no consequence to Ryan Garcia himself.
Then why do it?
Because just the other day, the WBC openly expressed their support of Ryan Garcia before he made these inflammatory comments. Afterwards, they don't wish to appear to be a party to him and his behavior.
It's bad optics.
Making Islamophobic comments at a time when the WBC just jumped into bed with the Saudis.
No.
Making bigoted comments about black people.
No.
They don't want to be a party to that because at the end of the day, boxing is a business and the World Boxing Council are all about what's good for business and alienating,
defaming,
degrading various demographics and different groups of people of different faiths. Well, that ain't good for business.
Even if it is inconsequential to Ryan, the whole point of it is the optics.
World Boxing Council wishes to appear in opposition of Ryan Garcia's tirade with this gesture, while Ryan Garcia himself is doubling down on it.
You ain't gonna catch me apologizing for nothing. Try to touch me all y'all want. Shoot me if you want. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I'm be at my brother's fight, of course. And guess what? Nobody gonna touch me at the fight either. None of you guys are real, bro. None of you guys do anything in person. This is all internet. You guys are all internet gangsters, bro. You guys are internet gangsters. I really want everybody to come try me. Bro, I cannot get touched. What are you talking about? Bro, I'm not going to get touched, ever. Somebody please touch me. Please. Untouched. Untouched. Won't be touched. Nothing's gonna happen. You guys are weird.
So there you have it. While Ryan Garcia is doubling down, stating that he will not apologize for anything that he said, no matter who he offended. His mother and his father are left to clean up the mess. A statement from Henry and Lisa Garcia, Ryan's parents, addressing his recent behavior. Our son has recently made some statements that do not align with his or our family's true character or beliefs.
What beliefs are those?
Our family unequivocally does not support any statements he has made regarding race or religion. These do not reflect who Ryan truly is.
Then what does?
And how he was raised. Those who know Ryan can attest to this fact. Ryan has been open about his ongoing struggle with mental health.
Mental health made him a racist?
Over the years, and as a family, we are committed to ensuring and encouraging that he receives the necessary help
Alcohol made him a racist?
to navigate this very challenging time and address both his immediate and long-term well-being.
So what is it? Ryan has a shot of whiskey and he turns into one of the good old boys?
We appreciate the continued support, prayers, and compassion.
You better get out of here.
So, in the Garcia's own words, Ryan's recent tirade is not a reflection of them or their core values. However, Henry recently made some racy comments of his own that some members of the media were quick to point out.
Mark Ortega said, didn't Henry Garcia make a comment about Devin Haney being nappy-headed?
To which veteran boxing scribe Dake Jonovan responded, nappy-headed motherfucker, then doubled down even after Devin educated him on why it was wrong to say.
So the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
Content creator that goes by the name Chicana Boxing said Henry called Bill Haney, quote-unquote, nappy. So they do kind of align, their core values in unison with Ryan's racist tirade.
It's an illusion, folks.
The idea that behind closed doors, we are all prim and proper and virtuous.
We're not.
As a nation, as a society, mounting racial and ethnic tensions are bubbling over.
And this is just a taste.
This brand of bigoted and hateful ignorance is not unique to Ryan or Henry Garcia and the Garcias. We see it ourselves all the time on social media.
Not just from one ethnic or racial group, but from several.
Not just from the Garcias' demographic.
The pendulum swings both ways.
That is the inconvenient truth, that perhaps this is not a mental health issue. Mental health.
That's why you're a bigot.
It's a mental health issue that you're a racist. Or is it more commonplace?
Customary.
And you're just tired of hiding it behind the guise of mental health. A blanket term that has been co-opted to service as a get-out-of-jail-free card for anyone who says or does something publicly that the public itself does not agree with.
This is how you say face. You say mental health.
What about it? And what about this is a mental health issue? You're saying that mental health is why your son is a bigot.
Has he been diagnosed with something? In a clinical setting, a medical setting.
That we should just write this off as a mental health issue. Is he on any medications? I don't think he is, because if he were, well, I hardly think a commission would regularly clear him to fight.
If he were diagnosed with something and on medication for it.
Or that this is a substance abuse issue. You're telling me that you get a little bit of alcohol in your system and you turn into Jim Crow.
Come on.
I get a little bit of alcohol in my system, I'm trying to jump on some ass.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Get a little bit of alcohol in your system and you turn into Nathan Bedford.
Who's that?
Look him up. The basic idea here is that none of the explanations that are being provided are adequate explanations for Ryan Garcia's behavior, aside from the obvious, that he's just a scumbag. He's a bigoted and racist individual, and he's just tired of hiding it. He's letting it all hang out.
And he's not the only one.
So just call a spade and stop trying to explain it away. Ryan isn't. Take it for what it is. Take it at face value.
When people show you who they are, believe them.
I'm definitely not happy to see the kid crashing out, you know. I always try to be as optimistic as I can as just a human being, and I hope that, everyone could be with me in my most trying times, as well as him going through his or anyone in my family. These are the times that having a dad who's been there on that roller coaster with you, that ups and downs, that their voice is loud and vocal at the top, as well as when you've hit rock bottom. So that team, you know what I mean? I wish them well, but there's no place for that kind of talk you know what I mean? And particularly, and direct it, you know, in the way that it's being directed, you know. You know, it's just no place for it. I think that he should get help, you know what I mean? And that's it. I don't believe in kicking a man while they're down. But he definitely should get help, and the people around him should step up and be held accountable and speak loud and be just as, you know, happy that they can be there for Ryan during these kind of times. This is a time that you see what kind of team you got.
Bill Haney's choosing to be diplomatic at a time when most people aren't being diplomatic with Ryan Garcia, citing, you know, what he's going through right now. His mother's diagnosis, the suspension.
None of these things are gonna turn you into a bigot, though.
What, because your mom is sick? That turned you into a bigot. That turned you into a racist. Or is it because the New York State Athletic Commission so chose to suspend you for the aspirin they found in your system? That's what turned you into a bigot. That's what turned you into a racist.
That's bullshit.
That's not how this works. All that these stress points may have done to Ryan Garcia is bring out what was already there and tend him with the alcohol.
All it did was bring out what was already there.
Don't blame it on the alcohol, because you're not a racist by default just because you're an alcoholic.
That's not how this works.
Many closet racists so emboldened by Ryan Garcia's behavior looking to justify it. Why are you trying to justify it, and to who?
To me?
You want I should make a video saying, oh, it's not so bad?
You didn't do nothing wrong.
It's not my worldview. In my world, you have freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequence. You're not exonerated of culpability for the words that come out of your mouth, even if you are free to speak them.
And don't talk to me about triggers.
Stress and stress points, as the stress that Ryan Garcia may be currently experiencing is not dissimilar from the stress that me and you might experience, except we're not millionaires.
Nope.
He is.
And you think that you've got something in common with him.
I feel for Ryan Garcia's mother and her unfortunate diagnosis. However, there are a lot of people that receive that same diagnosis that are not millionaires, you understand? And their behavior is not thereby justified because of that.
Whatever you say.
Ryan is a grown man. Even if he behaves like a child, he's not a child.
Bill Haney might want to pull punches. He's saying he doesn't want to kick that guy when he's down.
But who's kicking him and how? By saying that he's a bigot, by saying that he is a racist, that's kicking him by calling a spade a spade.
If he loses his endorsements and his sponsorships, like the Gatorade sponsorship, it's not because any of us kicked him, it's because of what he said.
If a company or companies don't wish to do business with someone like this,
What did you expect?
or should he not be held accountable for the words that leave his mouth? This victim culture we see prevalent in the West.
That because you're going through something, you got a pass to do and say whatever you want.
You can say whatever you want. Your freedom of speech hasn't been taken from you.
You're not the only one with those kinds of freedoms, and companies have the freedom to not do business with you. People have the freedom to not like you.
You're still free, and it's still a free country.
I wouldn't even call that kicking him while he's down.
In what is his downward spiral, I don't find myself reaching for a box of Kleenex to feel sorry for him.
He's just a fucking asshole.
You say it's a mental health issue to make yourself feel better, because what's even scarier is that he's just a fucking asshole.
There are lots of people like him.
He's not the only one. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, I'm sure most of you have heard by now that Salvador Rodriguez of ESPN Knockout, he said that all of a sudden, Chris Eubank Jr. is in the running for a Canelo Alvarez fight alongside Edgar Berlanga and alongside Jermall Charlo. And I don't even know what to say anymore.
I don't really like any of those fights.
It's a little different with Canelo because Canelo is a box office fighter exclusively. Whenever he fights, if you're here in America, it's going to run you about $75 or $80, and I should have to pay to see that, to see you fight a guy that Liam Smith knocked out?
You knocked out Liam Smith.
When you think about it, Chris Eubank Jr. is even less of a worthy adversary than Jermall Charlo and than Edgar Berlanga.
Where would they do this?
Where would they stage the fight? What, Las Vegas? Somewhere here in America to fight Chris Eubank Jr.? If there's any value in fighting Chris Eubank Jr., It would be across the pond.
The UK.
It would be in the United Kingdom and not in the United States. Chris Eubank Jr. very recently achieved free agency. He's not with Wasserman Boxing anymore. Thus, he is free to cross over to a PBC and Amazon to have a fight with Canelo.
But the PBC and Amazon don't do shows in the UK.
If this were Canelo Alvarez's bid to make his UK debut, since to my knowledge he's never actually fought there, but in previous instances he has expressed an interest in fighting in front of those fans. If that's what this is, well, ideally you would have Matchroom promoting the show.
But what Matchroom has been talking about, Eddie Hearn in particular, is an Edgar Berlanga fight.
As much as I don't like the Berlanga fight, Edgar Berlanga has more of a legitimate claim towards fighting Canelo Alvarez than Chris Eubank Jr. Edgar Berlanga is one of 3 mandatory challengers in the queue. There's Edgar, there is William Skull, David Benavidez, of course.
But you should skip out on fighting all of them to give Chris Eubank Jr. a shot. A shot at undisputed.
It was recently reported that Canelo Alvarez and William Skull, those 2 respective teams, reached a step-aside agreement. So what? You're paying William Skull to step aside to fight Chris Eubank Jr.
What?
I'm a consumer first, folks. I'm a customer before I'm anything. Before I'm a Canelo fan or a Crawford fan or a fan of any one fighter, I'm a customer first. And as a customer, I don't like this fight. I don't like it.
$80 for this.
Now, if you're one of these people that doesn't actually pay for box office fights, that you don't actually pay for everything, you stream East.
Anything.
But you know, I pay for the fights that I watch. I don't want to wrestle with laggy streams and shady websites and all of their cookies and Trojan worms exposing my software and hardware to somebody's malware. I don't want to have to do that in order to see a fight. So I pay for everything I watch, and I just don't want to have to pay for this. No.
Sorry.
I'm a big fan of Canelo Alvarez. I have been. I'm not one of his critics or one of his detractors, but this is where I would have to draw the line. I do not want to see Canelo versus Eubank.
I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
A guy that got beat by Billy Joe Saunders, who Canelo Alvarez already beat. A guy who got beat by Liam Smith, who Canelo Alvarez already beat.
Got taken to school by George Groves. George Groves who got beat by Callum Smith, and Callum Smith who got beat by Canelo Alvarez. This is moving backwards.
I don't want to rush to judgment because it's just a rumor and it should be treated as such, but on the premise that the rumor holds water and Canelo is actually considering Chris Eubank Jr. as his next opponent, no, I don't like it. No, I don't want to buy it.
It's a horrible fight.
Canelo really would be pushing the boundaries of what his fans are willing to accept if you so choose to fight this guy.
Come on.
As this is an even less worthy adversary than John Ryder was, his mandatory challenger, or Jermel Charlo, a former undisputed champion.
Jaime Munguia.
The idea that Chris Eubank, who's already an underachiever, might get a shot at undisputed. Not that he stands any chance of winning, because he doesn't, but that's the point. Canelo's beyond a guy like this. He shouldn't be fighting a guy like this.
No.
Can't justify it. I hope it's just a rumor and no more than that.
This is a terrible fight.
At some point, you've got to say, enough is enough. And for me, that's what this would be.